Dumelang bakgaetsho, I'm Tebogo Tinti. Welcome to Time with Tea. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me. There are 5 things that I will always talk about: gender-based violence, performing arts, literature, Agenda 23, and myself. Today, I would like to talk about performing arts. I haven't done that in a minute, and I have been slacking. Hey, I have been sleeping on the job because I haven't seen a show this whole year. Since the year began, I have not seen a show because I was licking my wounds. I've been talking a lot about healing and doing the inner work and healing the inner child. And the truth of the matter is, healing happens how it happens when it happens. And it's just like any disease, it's just like any addiction that you can relapse, and anything can happen that would send you right back into the dark hole that you have been fighting to get out of. And that is what happened to me earlier in the beginning of the year. I found myself sliding back into the dark hole that I've been trying and doing my best, I believe, at the time to get out of. And I had to start all over again. It almost felt like I was starting from scratch, but at least I was starting with experience this time. But it was dark nonetheless, and it still hurt, and it was still hard, and it was not pleasant. It's something that I wish I don't have to do again, but I will do again when I need to, when the triggers happen, because we live in a world where people are not conscious or sensitive to one's triggers, and sometimes your triggers are not known to other people that are around you or that who are in your world. So it's up to you to be able to gain the tools to be able to handle your triggers. So as I was licking my wounds for the first half of the year, I started crawling out and I said, I am going to watch a show. And the first show that I go and watch this year was lebitso la moya. And the irony of it all is that the issues that I've been dealing with has a lot to do with the issues that are discussed in the shows. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm just coming out. And then I walked straight into Hasatane. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then you have not watched lebitso la moya. And it's a show that speaks a lot about, I can't say the form of abuse on this channel because our videos get flagged, but it speaks a lot about SA and the physical abuse and the extent of it, and how it really begins. And I suffered the same fate, but in different circumstances, in different industries. And we talk about these types of abuse so much that we have to mention that these types of abuse happen everywhere, in very many industries that we're in, be it corporate, entertainment, yes, in churches, and that is what lebitso la moya was focusing on, and in spiritual initiations. That is where my essay took place, when I was at initiation training to become a traditional healer. And with what lebitso la moya does is that it really explains the A to Z of it all, of how things really begin, and how these wicked pastors, men who are in position of power, and sometimes it's women who are in positions of power, and they use that power for their gain, for their disgusting ways. And lebitso la moya was written and directed by Mama Matsunyane, who is no stranger to the industry. Just hearing her last name, you know whose daughter she is. And her brilliance seeps through her. And with watching lebitso la moya and the opportunity that I have with the South African State Theatre, I got to interview her and the rest of her cast for on set a South African state theatre production that takes you to different sets, different shows, different productions in different theatres. So I got that opportunity, and when I asked her where that one came from, where ka lebitso la moya came from, she told me that because she is the 2023 Standard Bank, wait, let me get it right, the 2023 Standard Bank Young Artist for Theatre winner, and with that she had to produce original work. She had to write an original script, and then she went to her archives and pulled this one out. I know she makes it sound so easy. And she started writing this piece back in 2018. And the issues that I'm still dealing with happened to me back in 2014. And this topic is still very much relevant today, because it was just a couple of days ago when I was reading the headlines and a pastor was back in court for a case just like this, abusing the young members of the church. And what Mama Matsunyane does with this play is show us the grooming process, is that they prey on the most vulnerable, and they use your weaknesses against you for their gain, though, because in the play there is a character played by Zevi Mampomfu. She's the baby of the cast, and she is the one that is being assaulted, and she lives with her mother. They go to church and her father is absent. And what the pastor says is that I will be there for you on behalf of your absent father. And that kind of speech really makes you feel like, because I'm missing this person in my life, here is this person wanting to fill the void and fill the gaps, and it's so easy to gravitate towards that because it is a need. For me, when I was at initiation, it was a matter of, you don't have a family. Even if I do have a family, even though I do have a family, it was a matter of, your family does not want you. We want you. And that's what I started believing. And your family does not want you. That's why they sent you here. And we want you. And I believed that. And it was when things got very hard for me and I couldn't take it anymore, I ran away. And when I ran away and came home, my family sent me back. And when I went back, they said, we told you. We told you they don't want you. We want you, so you need to stay with us. It was not an easy thing to hear. It was not an easy thing to experience. It's still not an easy thing to remember even now. And it's really the types of things that sometimes send me back to that dark place mentally. But I am gaining more tools, and I'm putting more tools in my toolbox to be able to fight this thing, so I can handle it much, much better and differently. So in the cast, Mama also has Kujo Green, whom I refer to as theatre royalty. I mean, Kujo Green. And she delivers a stellar performance in the show as the mother to the character that is played by Zevi, called Lindsay. She is also a mother who is after the pastor, who wants the pastor to notice her, who wants to be in relations with the pastor, because you're a pastor and you're in a position of power, so therefore everybody finds you attractive. And the pastor is played by Dos Mulele, another one who is just excellent. Dos, I remember having my very first conversations with Dos was when he was at the South African State Theatre for Bloke and his American Bantu, written by Dr. Siphiwe Mahala and directed by Selomake Kangube. Or should we say Dr. Selomake? I don't know, should we say the Trinity, Dr. Selomake? And he was playing at the time the character of Lance Langston Hugh. And he gave that character a different kind of life. He literally brought Lance to life. And when I was in conversation with him about that particular character again on set, he spoke about how he embodies a character, how he becomes one with the character. And the same thing he said this time around. And when I asked him, I said, because he goes 100%, 110, 150, if you will, in everything, in every character he plays, even in the ads, even in the adverts, he plays an advert like it is his last performance on earth. So when I asked him about this and what he was teaching and the message that he was trying to get across and the preparation for his role, he said that was kind of difficult for him a bit because he is an ordained pastor and he is a leader in the community. And the one thing, his mission is to make all these children who feel like they do not have, who don't have fathers or who feel like their fathers are maybe not enough. He wants them to experience that, and therefore he does camps for father and son camps, and then he has all these incredible initiatives, and I would really like for you guys to check it out. He is very active on social media, as does Mulele. Check him out. He does incredible work. So for him, this character was also an opportunity to teach, to say that as much as this is an industry or a thing, that it's an open secret. It's people know about these things that happen in these institutions, but don't talk about it because they're afraid. And it's almost, and then it brings in the character ya Mamuruti, played by Siyasanga Babu. Siyasanga also, I was so excited to have her for onset because I missed her the two times. She was first at the South African State Theatre for Marikana and then for Grover, and both times when we had onset for both shows, she was unavailable, and this time she was available. Thank you, Momo, for making it happen. I was so excited to finally meet her and have a conversation with her. Well, I had met her, but just to have a conversation like that with her, which was incredible for me. And she says that she is now a part of our generation that asks the questions, that drives the conversation, even with her children, to say that you have to recognize good touch, bad touch. You have to create a safe space for your children to come talk to you about anything. You cannot raise a child that is scared, because one of every parent's worst nightmare is to hear that your child has been going through something and they've been afraid to come and talk to you about it. So she really also uses her character to teach, because Mamuruti is a woman from that time, from that era, that says we can't speak about this. Re fihla botlhaswa, you know, ga re batle go tsentsa family matlo, ga re batle go batho ba tlo reng, you know. She's a woman that has that kind of mentality, and we all know somebody. And what I found very interesting was that in every person that I spoke to in regards to the show, is that when I was asking them how they prepare, they all had somebody they could study for this. So it is interesting for me because we all know people that do such things, to be quite honest. We all know perpetrators. We all know institutions where things like this happen. Yet when a victim comes forward to say this and this has been happening, it's like, why are you speaking about it? Why? Like, don't talk about it. It's almost like we are not supposed to talk about it. I remember with me as well, going back to this, is that when I started talking about it, I had family members tell me, don't do it. Don't talk about it. Why since well, the time might have passed, but the feelings and the scars and the emotions are still there. And that is why now my default setting is to believe a victim. When somebody says, I've been hurt, I believe the person that's been hurt. When somebody says, I want to talk about it, I'm there to listen. I'm not the person to say, don't. No. I support a victim that comes out, victims and survivors, victims and victors that come out to speak about it. And this is what this show does, because also with what I was talking about with Siyasanga, to say, how do we then, because these conversations are not had in most households, so how do we then make it comfortable for people to have these kinds of conversation? Go to theater. It is such a conversation piece. Imagine you live in a household where you can't speak about something like this, and then you go watch a play and it's speaking about it, and it's enlightening and it's teaching you, and it's also healing in a sense. Because, and I said this to Mama Matsunyane, to say, me having watched that and also having had the privilege to speak to the cast about it, I'm healing just a little bit, because the intention of the work that they do is to do that, is to heal, and is to make it known to the people that are suffering that it's okay to speak your truth. You don't have to suffer in silence. And for the people that keep doing this, we have to make it so uncomfortable for them that everywhere they go, they hear us talking about abuse and assault and gender-based violence. They have to hear it. In as much as a lot of people have been saying, or all we do is talk and then what, we need to keep talking about this. And if you have not if you have not watched lebitso la moya yet, I really hope that you get to watch it, because this is a show that also needs to be playing in all of South African theaters for our South African audience, because this is a South African story, and Mama Matsunyane is so brilliant. She found the language to deliver these issues. She found a way to communicate it to the audience, to all of us. And I asked her if I could call her crazy, and she gave me permission. She tapped into a different kind of crazy to be able to deliver the story the way that she did. So Momo Matsunyane, if you ever get to watch this, I'm so happy that you are this crazy. I am so glad that you had the ability to tap into that level of crazy. Thank you so much. You are healing me. You are helping me heal those who are coming after me, and you are also helping heal those who came before us, because we also need to recognize that a lot of people are sitting in silence with these types of scars, and you make it okay for us to keep talking about it. So gyaleboga. In the other family, Akere Kujo Green played the Mama Khalintwe, the Chakalaka lady, as we call. I don't want to give too much about the show away, because you really have to get to watch it. And the other family, Nelly, Doz and Siyasanga as mom and dad, Tate Muruti, and then their son was played by Chrysophagus. And when I asked him what really shocked him the most about this entire play, he was honest to say he wasn't shocked at all, because he knew that these things were happening. And he was so like fresh out of school. He was fresh out of school, fresh out of graduation. And this was his first professional show. And to be a part of that amazing cast was incredible. I love it so much for him. And my chat about this show still stands. Nothing is shocking, because you know what's happening. What is shocking, honestly, is how, as the society now, treat these issues, how we don't speak, and how we treat the victims. And there's also an element of spirituality that comes up at the end that I really honestly believe that she nailed, because a lot of the things come out to play just like that. When somebody is keeping something kamogare, and they are dying to speak, but they don't have the space to speak about it, and then they have the gift, that thing kamogare elaya thunya and it comes out. I have seen it happen with me. This is not something that I've seen it happen with me, that sometimes I would bottle things so much and say, you know what, I'm not going to talk about this, like, it's fine, discuss it, it's okay, and then boom, it comes out And that's what I love so much about spirituality. As much as it's an industry that hurt me, it's an industry that I absolutely love and treasure and adore. And I will keep practicing, and I will keep trying to make it a safe space for those who come after, who are coming after us. And the character, the play also consisted of Black, who plays Monapule. Monapule is the right hand man of the pastor. Is the guy that wants to be a pastor also someday. Is the guy that we're not sure if he knows what's going on, but we think he knows, and we think that he's helping the pastor do these things, but we also think that he's protecting the victims. So Monapule is that guy who is in between, who really means well. He just wants to be liked and accepted, and hopefully one day get a promotion. The music directors was Zolani Letebi. Tebi plays the keys. And when he plays, and I'm so glad that I get to have these conversations with these creators, because he plays the keys as if he was a part of, he was a part of the cast, but I mean, he had lines. And I said this to him, I was like, while I was watching, I thought at any moment he was going to say a few lines, because he was just not there playing the key, playing the piano. He was a part of the cast, and that is what Zolani said in creating the music. He's like, he didn't just want to create music for just a production. He wanted the music to be also a character in the play, and I think that is the most genius, the most beautiful thing I've heard a musician say about his music. And I really want all of us to support artists, actors, musicians, everybody. And we can support them by going to the shows and actually buying tickets. When we listen to the music, let's actually buy the music. And I always say this, is that for us as non-performers and non-creators of art, as regular people, even children, when you have felt some type of way, be it happy, sad, scared, joyful, whatever emotion, depressed, whatever emotion that you have ever felt, you've always turned to music. You've always turned to some type of art. You've always turned to a creator, a performer. Let's treat them the way that they make us feel. Let's treat them with the respect that they deserve. And I don't understand why they are the most unfortunate when it comes to regulation of the industry and so on and so forth. But I'm hoping the new government will do better, because it looks like the minister is doing some great things there. So my wish for that is that things happen the way that they happen. And ka lebitso la moya, the genius that is Momo Matsunyane. And my first encounter with Momo, of course, I would see her from a distance. I was it a year ago or a year before that, when she was a part of Khanya that came to the South African State Theatre, another outstanding piece, and she was responsible for the text in the show. Khanya was by Lulu Mlangeni. And the text in Khaya was magnificent. I remember when I asked Lulu about it, I'm like, and this text, because you're a dancer. Her major is dancing, is dance. And then when she told me that Momo did the text, I wasn't even shocked, because when Momo does something, when Momo writes, it's really just like a bird flying. Now, are we going to clap for a bird because it's doing what it's supposed to? Are we going to clap for a bird because it's flying high? Like, it's supposed to fly high. What else is a bird going to do? We can't expect a bird to swim. It's supposed to fly. And that is how Momo treats her art. It's like Momo's born to write. and to create this kinds of text. Like, it's incredible. And for ka lebitso la moya to be the first show that I watched for the year, especially with all of the things that I was dealing with and what it talks about, I don't know who to give credit to, but things happen the way that they happen, and things unravel the way that they unravel. And I'm happy that this was my first for the year, and I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful. And I'm back to watching these shows and talking about them. No more slacking for me, because stories like these need to be told, and when they are told, they need to be talked about. And that's what I'm here for. To watch storytellers tell their stories so I can talk about the stories that they tell. They give me content. Oh yeah, and the South African State Theatre has this thing called MCO, Maibuya Community Outreach, Maibuya Community Outreach, where community groups are encouraged to take original stories, original scripts, and adapt them and turn them into and make them their own. Essentially, just tell that story. If there are any community groups listening to this and they're applying for MCO, be it for this year, next year, whenever, consider ka lebitso la moya. Consider ka lebitso la moya, because the story, and don't worry about this thing started with so many great actors. The mission is to keep the conversations going. And ka lebitso la moya, the original with the cast, I see great things for them. I don't have a crystal ball, but and I can't look into the future. My gift does not take me that far, but I can just, great things are coming for ka lebitso la moya and Mama Matsunyane and the rest of her cast members. But for festivals like MCOs, consider that script. For varsity students that are doing their final pieces for the year, consider that work. That body of work it checks every box. It checks every box. So I'm starting a new thing where after I talk about a show, I'm gonna rate it out of 10. And ka lebitso la moya gets, out of 10, ka lebitso la moya gets a solid . So my rating, I don't know, can you see? My rating for ka lebitso la moya out of 10, as a story, as a cast, the way that it's told, the way that it's written and directed, a solid 20 out of 10. Every costume, if you go ka bona wiki ya machakalaka ne, for me, it's little things like that. The set is a pack and go type of set, very minimal, and it's that type of set shows you gore less is enough when it comes to a set, because that's all they needed. Those wooden maplanga, that's all they needed. And those got the floor to match the wood, which was sweet. And I love a set like that. I like that. I love a minimal set. For example, set ya kana king show it. KKK commanding, yes. Commanding Congolese, Congolese Commanding Commissioner, something like that. I'm sorry for butchering the title. I forgot. It slipped my mind. The set was incredible. The show itself was a little... No, I'm not going to rate it because it's last year's work. I'm rating this year's work. Mara, the set was incredible. I loved the set. Beautiful, minimal, beautiful. Also, let's set their letters of hope. I loved it because they laid like it was a wall at some point, and then early letters, like pages from books, which the letters, it was, those kinds of sets. And then you get this Leah Gana King, another show that Sirele Zongwane was in, because she was in KKK, and then she was also in another one, the other one that I'm the one to talk about. Yeah, that guy that won the award that didn't think he should have won. Yona Eo, the set was also just brilliant. I like pack and go type of sets. I like watching theater and seeing a set that I just want to bring home type of vibe. For me, it works. There are also big sets that are absolutely gorgeous. But some sets become so busy, like that other show. They become so busy. Anyway, let me not talk about last year's work. Let me talk about this year's work. And this year, I've only seen one body of work so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing Tababusiu that just opened at the South African State Theatre. Do go out there and check it out. By the way, lebitso la moya closed. I don't know why I didn't watch this earlier on in the week so I can sit here and talk about it. But then again, I think I wouldn't have been emotionally ready. Yeah, because this last week has been like a come out of the shelf for me. So if I had done it, this thing works out the way that it works out. God knows what he's doing. So yeah, 20 out of 10 for lebitso la moya. Great directing, great script, great acting, great set, great music, great everything. Great costumes. Limasila ale abona ale amoya amaphepulu. Hasatane is a place that needs to be talked about. Baby Hasatane. So go Hasatane, go Marlin Tata or Hawaii or something along those lines. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. So yeah, that's it for today. Please do join my online book club. The first book that I'm doing for the online book club is The City Is Mine by Nikim Shongo. We are going to be meeting on the last day of this month. Please do join our WhatsApp group to get the information and the links on when it's online. Just to get the links. Simply, I will also put the link in the comment section here in the description to the WhatsApp group. Otherwise, text Book Nook or just text your name. Simply just text or send a WhatsApp to say you want to join the book club on 069 623 6937 069 623 6937. WhatsApp Book Nuku and then join us so we can also, as much as we are going to be watching a lot of shows, let's also read a lot of books and then come back here and talk about them. I will do a video about The City Is Mine after the online book club meeting, the first Book Nook meeting, so that I can also gather other people's opinion and not only just talk about my opinion and have a bit of meat on the skeleton while talking about the book. So I hope to see you there. Well, that's it for today. I will see you next time on Time with Tea. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me. Love and light, reach out and touch, and keep well. And go watch a show, go read a book, go listen to me, go support an artist. Love and light.